truly African.
Tonight's edition of The Couch. It's a Friday, so ideally you would be looking forward to a personality profile, but there's a special edition of the show due to some very, very important issues that have arisen today. And so Amaprat describes The Couch as the only show with a heart, so I think it will only be proper for me to describe it as same. And I'd want to welcome you officially, those of you watching us across the length and breadth of the continent. We are extremely grateful for your time this evening. I'm looking forward to a very insightful conversation here tonight due to the persons or the personalities that have joined me this evening. I get to sit in for Amaprat tonight, as I've done for many other shows. Maybe I should call myself the official sitting host for all the shows at Pan African Television. But let me be quick to also mention that this is something I do with great relish. And so whenever the opportunity arises for me to sit in for my superiors, I grab that opportunity with both hands. And so this evening, I've been joined by two, I would say, very accomplished gentlemen, especially in the media space. Kwame Osudanso, who is the programs manager here at Pan African Television, also doubles as the host. Except that he only flashes in once a while. I get to do all the hosting as far as the morning show is concerned. Kwame, good evening.
Good evening, bless.
Right. Also, Kojo Yankson of Multimedia is here with us. He's no stranger to The Couch, of course, and once again we've called on him and he's actually heeded to our call. Kojo, good evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right. As I earlier stated, ideally we're supposed to have I would say a political show on a Friday as far as The Couch is concerned. Supposed to be a personality profile, but this morning, earlier today, some issues arose and we think it is important that we discuss those issues. What am I talking about? Well, just this morning we've learned that a letter has been written to the special prosecutor. And what does that letter contain? Let me read it out to you. Petition by Martin Alamisi Amido for the removal of Honorable Kesi Ejabeng from office as special prosecutor pursuant to Section 15 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959. It says, this is to forward to you a copy of petition dated 30th April 2024 sent to the office of the President, which was forwarded to the office of the Honorable Lady Chief Justice on 6th May 2024. Kindly provide your comments to the matters raised to enable the Honorable Chief Justice determine if a prima facie case has been made out. Thank you and please accept my compliments. Signed, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. So this is the letter that was written to the office of the special prosecutor, and it's strange. It's a bit strange from a personal point of view that someone who once occupied that office, Ghana's very first special prosecutor in Martin Amido, would want this current one deposed. I'm going to start a conversation with Kojo Yankson. Does this come as a surprise, especially when Martin Amido once occupied that position and he had to leave because he felt there were people in high places who were stymieing his efforts to, fighting corruption?
Well, let me first say a great good evening to you and, of course, your wonderful audience. It's always a pleasure to be on your platform. Now, you ask if it's a surprise. I mean, it's a novelty for somebody to petition for his successor to be removed from the office he resigned from earlier. It's a novelty. Surprise? No. Because Martin Amido has made his views on the current special prosecutor quite clear. from the time he was appointed. I can give you some specific examples of articles and epistles he's written about the work of the current special prosecutor. So many of them. Look, I'll give you some topics that he's written under, if the internet will permit me. There was one on his martinamiduspeaks.com, which was the very first article he wrote very soon after the man was appointed. Then there was another one, an article where he said, Office of Special Prosecutor is discriminatorily corrupt to the core. Yeah. Then he wrote this one of my favorites. Let's hear Judicial Service on Kisia Jabing's joint statement before rushing to judgment. So that you remember there was a joint statement between Kisia Jabing and the Judicial Service. And Martin Amidu wasn't buying it. He felt like it was a one-sided statement. Let's wait and hear what the Judicial Service have to say on the topic. He didn't trust Kisia Jabing, and it goes on and on and on. So Special Prosecutor blackmails government, touts prosecutions of former government appointees. Office of Special Prosecutor turned into an incarnation of McCarthyism. I'm sure for those of you who are quite politically savvy, you will know about McCarthyism. That was the witch hunting of socialists and communists all the way back in the 60s in the United States. And he suggests that this is exactly what the Special Prosecutor in Kisia Jabing's office was doing. Kisia Jabing must be impeached for scandalizing the administration of, I think it's John Dramani Mahama. Administration of justice. Scandalizing the administration of justice. And it gets worse and worse. Reports by OSP into allegations of corruption involving Charles Idu Boahin is bogus and fraudulent. Danger in Kisia Jabing's OSP picking cases in biased manner. This was Martin Amidu. You remember how long Martin Amidu himself was fixated on Mahama Ayariga when he was in office. But he felt, in spite of all of that, that Kisia Jabing was somehow biased in his selection of cases. Rejoinder, Special Prosecutor yet to receive salary. That was another one that he had an opinion on. So on and on and on and on. I give you these examples to demonstrate that nobody is shocked that Martin Amidu has asked for Kisia Jabing to be removed. He's been writing about this for ages. What is interesting is that he gives certain reasons this time around for calling for the impeachment, and it all seems to be triggered by the fact that he made a request for information from the Special Prosecutor, which was denied. Okay, so he states a number of things, and I'll see if I can go through them quickly. There aren't that many. He's alleging procurement breaches in the purchase of vehicles for the OSP,
yes,
abuse of judges and the administration of justice, violation of citizens' rights through arrests and detentions, violation of citizens' rights to information, that's the one that involves his own request for information, as well as appointment of personnel to the office. Joy News is the ones that broke this story, and essentially they found out that, look, Martin Amidu was alleging first of all that the Special Prosecutor, by holding a press conference to complain about the conduct of the judiciary, the famous Ankwanoma press conference, amounts to abusing judges and bringing the judiciary into disrepute. Then it goes on. He actually asked for information from the Special Prosecutor, and he was asking for information about appointment letters. He wanted appointment letters and salaries of all staff of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, okay, to be put on a pen drive for him. He also wanted to know about appointment of personnel to the office. The Special Prosecutor declined. And following that, he's called for the impeachment. The President, by law, doesn't have much choice here. He simply has to forward the petition to the Chief Justice, who also is enjoined by law to first of all ascertain whether there is a prima facie case. And if on the face of it there is a case, then she would have to set up a committee. This committee would have to have 3 members. One would have to be a Supreme Court judge, one will have to be a lawyer of some repute, and the third will have to be an investigator, another person who has experience of investigations. These 3 would then deliberate on the petition and assess whatever evidence is put before the commission. Now, committee. Now, once their findings are made, the president again has no choice in the matter. He shall follow whatever findings they come up with. So that's what Martin Amidu has set in motion. This, to be perfectly honest, will end up being a test of whether or not this administration wants to get rid of Kissi Agyabeng, if you ask me.
If I ask you, right. Now let me come to Kwame Wosu-Dan. So Kwame, does it appear that Martin Amidu is perhaps casting covetous glances at the post he left? He knows the challenges that are there. What should be his interest in no other issues pertaining to this country, but he's so fixated on this office which he left, citing the very challenges that Kissi Agyabeng has been telling us he's been facing time and again in that space?
Well, good evening to you and to our viewers. I think Martin Amidu, in my estimation, is the one who birthed the office. It is his creation. It is his baby. He conceptualized it. He hatched it. So one can only expect that he will have an eagle eye on that institution and have a proper bird's eye view in respect of the activities of that office. So I am not surprised at all that even though he's not in office, he still finds it expedient that the office conducts itself in a manner that finds expression in the purpose for which the office was set up. So clearly it is indicative of how he loves the office. But it is important to posit this argument within the proper framework of events as those events have unfolded. Now, if you look at the functions of the Office of the Special Prosecution, I think that it plays a very significant role in whether or not the petition which has been forwarded to the president, which subsequently has been sent to the CJ, finds expression and logic. Now, permit me to read the functions of the Office of the Special Prosecution. The OSP has the object of investigating and prosecuting specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses in the public and private sectors, recovering the proceeds of such acts by disgorging illicit and unexplained wealth and taking steps to prevent corruption. So these are the core functions of the Office of the Special Prosecution. So they were primarily set up to ensure that we fight against corruption, especially because corruption was the bedrock of MPP's campaign, and which they trumpeted and heralded in almost all the campaigning that they did prior to the 2016 election. So it is not surprising at all that when they got the opportunity, they decided to set up the office for the purpose of fighting corruption. Now the question then becomes, has the office been able to perform the functions for which it was set up? The answer is obvious to all of us. Martin Amidu himself was found in the middle of the ocean with waves crashing him without knowing how to navigate. And out of frustration, he resigned. Now, the very things that he complains in his petition to the president are the very things that he suffered, for which reason he decided to resign. I want to believe that in his estimation, if you are faced with a bottleneck, for which reason you are unable to execute your functions properly, then resign. Don't complain. But how do you make an institution better? Especially when Martin Amidu knows that there's this rigid mental creation by this administration to frustrate any attempt by any institution or any anti-corruption institution to fight corruption in this country. He himself has been a sufferer of sin. So Kissi Agyabeng is not, Martin Amidu should not at all fault Kissi Agyabeng so much on his inability to execute the functions of the office, right? Now, if you read the petition specifically points to specific sections in the act which set up the office of prosecution. Now, he relies on section 15 plus 2. But first of all, it is important to educate our viewers on section 15 plus 1, which says, so the heading is removal of the special prosecutor. 15.1 says, the special prosecutor shall not be removed from office except for A, stated misbehavior or incompetence, B, incapacity to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity of body or mind, C, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy, D, conduct which I, brings or is likely to bring the office of the special prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule or contempt, or II, is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. So the 15.1 spells out the criteria, if you like, based on which someone can bring a petition for the removal of a special prosecutor from office, right? Now, if you read the basis or the allegations that Martin Amidu has leveled against the special prosecutor in his petition to the president, I don't know whether or not any of those allegations find expression in 15.1, because I don't know which stated misbehavior or incompetence is referring to. Now, in any judicial disputation, right, any of the parties, if the matter has been so decided by the court, has the liberty to comment on it. So when a matter, an order or a ruling has been given by court, any party in that suit has the liberty to comment on it. So for instance, if a judgment has been given, like what Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo did in 2012, he said that I do not agree with the decision of the court, but I will accept it. He disagreed openly, okay, and he intimated that he did not accept the ruling of the court. He did not like it. He disagreed with it, but he will accept it for the maintenance of peace and to ensure that, you know, there's no chaos whatsoever, right? So I don't know what egregious offense, okay, Kissi Agyabeng has committed, for which reason Martin Amidu would want to petition the president for his removal. Because if you are talking about the fact that he has organized a press conference and has commented on what he believes is what is preventing him from executing his functions so given to him by the law, then I don't see anything wrong with it. He is at liberty to complain and to comment, just as Martin Amidu did, just as Martin Amidu, okay, defined and described, characterized and particularized the president as the mother serpent of corruption. He did that. Did anybody petition the president for his removal? No. Exactly. So if you read A, the stated misbehavior or incompetence, with the greatest of respect to our senior most Martin Amidu, does not, in my estimation, wash. Now let's come to B, incapacity or to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity or body of mind, unless he has any medical records to suggest that Mr. Kissi Agyabeng is incapacitated by reason of unsoundedness of mind or bodily infirmity. I don't want to believe that the B also finds expression in the reasons that he has given to the president for the removal of Kissi Agyabeng as the special prosecutor. Now, if you come to C, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy, I don't want to believe, and there is no evidence anywhere or any material whatsoever that points to the fact that Mr. Kissi Agyabeng has violated his official oath or oath of secrecy. I don't think he's done that. So there's no evidence to that effect. Now, if you look at D, conduct with I, which brings or is likely to bring the office of the special prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt. The question then becomes, what conduct are they referring to? Because the law is ambiguous here. There is no specificity as to a conduct which will amount to one that will bring contempt or one that will ridicule the office. It's not stated here. So on what basis is Mr. Martin Amidu suggesting that Mr. Kissi Agyabeng has acted in ways which ridicule or brings the office into contempt or disrepute? I have not cited any article. I have not seen anything that he has done. He is not an immoral human being. I have not seen him, engage himself in any act of corruption. He has not gone for any bribes. We've not heard anything of the sort. So what is Mr. Martin Amidu talking about? And with the greatest of respect to Mr. Martin Amidu, I think we need better and further particulars in respect of this, if that is the basis for which using the body action. Then the final one, any conduct which is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. I want to believe that in all of this, the conduct of Mr. Kissi Agyabeng is rather to restore democracy and to restore peace and to give confidence, to the Ghanaian people that after all, there's an agency that is interested in fighting corruption and bringing about stability and development to the good people of this country. And I don't think that he's acted in any way which is at variance with the specific provisions or sections of the act which set up the office of the special prosecution. So if you are relying on 15.1 to trigger 15.2, with the greatest of respect to Mr. Martin Amidu, I don't think that any of these things that I've mentioned here can point to Mr. Kissi Agyabeng. And on the basis of that, I don't think that there's any modicum of, or rather, there is any basis at all for even bringing this petition to the president. At best, what I think Mr. Martin Amidu is doing is what my senior Kojo Yankson indicated, that it appears that he wrote to the office for some information, and that information was not given to him. And which is why he thinks that he has violated the Right to Information Act. But we don't know the details of it. We don't know whether or not the information that Mr. Martin Amidu was asking is one that would rather violate DII, is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. You're asking for an information that may be inimical, prejudicial or inimical to the economy or the security of the state. Maybe the information that you needed, even in court, where a matter involves the security or the national security of the state, evidence is not taken in open court. You understand?
Right.
So it is not in all cases that people are required to provide you with information. And on the basis of that, I think that Mr. Martin Amidu, with the greatest of respect to him, he's very intelligent and knowledgeable, doesn't really have any basis for bringing this action. I think Kojo has explained to us the effect of the two. Has walked us through the chronology of events. After somebody has petitioned the president, what happens? Let's see how it unfolds. But from where I sit, I don't think that a prima facie case, I'm not prejudiced in any way, but I don't think that from where I sit, I don't think that there's any basis at all for the petition to have been sent to the president.
Right. So when I'm coming to Kojo actually. So I read a news item on this issue earlier today. One of the news portals reported that the Jubilee House went into excitement when the president actually or when they received the petition to remove Kissi Agyabeng. Now my question is, and this is a question on the minds of many Ghanaians, why does it appear that the president has done this with supersonic speed. He's been in a hurry to do it. As soon as the letter came, he forwarded it to the Chief Justice to act on it. When there have been earlier petitions in the past to remove people who were deemed or perceived incompetent, like the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, like the former Attorney General, I think the former Chief Justice rather, he didn't act on it. Why is the president so much interested in this particular one that as soon as the petition came, he forwarded it to the Chief Justice?
Okay, first of all, I have to confess that I don't actually know for a fact that he transmitted it immediately he received it, because we know the letter is dated April
30th.
Yes, 30th of April. So, I mean, some considerable time has passed. The president, by law, only has, 7 days within which he must send it anyway, right? And you are right. In other instances, nothing has happened, which, by the way, we should question. Because the law says that he must. If he receives the petition, he must pass it on. So, why did nothing come of some other petitions that he has received? Something came of this one, but can we say that it was supersonic speed? I don't know, because I don't actually know when he received it, but we know when the petition was dated. We just don't know when the president received it. So I can't really say, I don't know for a fact that it was sent quickly. But the point you make, which I completely agree with, is that he has taken action on this one, when in other instances he didn't. Now, I don't know which article you read, the one that said that they were excited. Yes. I don't know which article that is. But there are conspiracy theories going around. There are some people who think the administration wants to get rid of Kissi Agyabeng. So somehow this is part of some master scheme to achieve that goal. I am more likely, and first of all, this is conditional, if indeed the presidency wants to get rid of Kissi Agyabeng, then this is more likely to be a happy accident.
Yes,
because Martin Amidu working with the mother serpent, by his own definition, no. So if indeed this administration wants to get rid of Kissi Agyabeng, then this is some happy coincidence, for which reason maybe they would indeed celebrate. But do they want to get rid of Kissi Agyabeng? That's the question. Is Kissi Agyabeng a threat to this administration? Is he? If you ask me, he was given a completely winnable case with Cecilie Dapaah. I'm sorry, nobody can convince me that case was not winnable. Nobody can convince me that those procedures on which this matter was thrown out, Kissi Agyabeng does not have the capacity to have adhered to those procedures in a way that would not have resulted in the case being thrown out. Nobody can convince me that Kissi Agyabeng, who trains lawyers in criminal law, am I mistaken? Nobody can convince me that he didn't know that if you don't present your case within 7 days when you are trying to seize somebody's assets, you have problems. Nobody can convince me he didn't know that. All of the catalog of errors that resulted in this case being dismissed, nobody can convince me that Kissi Agyabeng committed those errors out of a lack of competence. Then he passes the case on to Iyoko, claiming that even though he hasn't found corruption, even though he has been compelled to give the woman's money back to her, somehow he can see money laundering. So they should go ahead and investigate money laundering. But the investigation that he did with the FBI, for which reason he can see money laundering, he won't give it to them. And he never did, by the way. So Iyoko was unable to take any action in that direction. Nobody can convince me that was just Kissi Agyabeng being incompetent. That he has this document, but he just was unable to pass it on to them. Nobody can convince me of that. To be perfectly honest, if I was sitting at the presidency watching Kissi Agyabeng, I'd be very pleased with him. because he's fumbling. Whether deliberately or accidentally, he's fumbling. If I was at the presidency, I wouldn't be in a hurry to remove him. I don't know who will replace him. I don't know what kind of fanatic we might end up putting there instead of Kissie Agyabeng. Might go and pick someone who you think is a level-headed, reasonable person who might play ball, and then he will turn out to be Kwame Ozudan, so who is actually interested in jailing every criminal in the world, and might come after you and your people. So you just never know. At the moment, you have someone who is either deliberately messing up,
or a stooge,
or is just bad at the job.
Well,
both of those are very good outcomes for an executive that really doesn't want its people prosecuted successfully. The president actually wrote that he expects Cecilia Dapaah to be exonerated.
yes.
So having a Kissie Agyabeng in place works quite well for them. So I don't know whether I should believe the conspiracy theories, right? The thing I did want to say about the law which Kwame educated us on so beautifully is that, yes, indeed, it's very hard to see where Martin Amidu's claims would fall, and that these four quite clearly stated grounds for the removal of the special prosecutor. Maybe two of them might give some small allowance, but you see, that small allowance is actually very big. Let me demonstrate. So it's A, B, C, and D. A is stated misbehavior or incompetence. B is incapacity to perform the functions by reason of infirmity of body or mind. C is willful violation of the oath or oath of secrecy. And D is the I and II, conduct which I brings or is likely to bring the office into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt, or II, prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. If you ask me, B cannot apply in this case. Incapacity to perform the functions by reason of infirmity of body or mind. I don't know how you are going to prove that Kissie Agyabeng is physically or mentally unfit to do his job. I don't know how you do that. C is also difficult. Willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy. I mean, how are you going to prove that he has violated these oaths? Where? To whom? When? I mean, that's also tough. A and D have small allowance on them. A, stated misbehavior or incompetence. Incompetence will be difficult. Even though I am of the opinion that he could do better, it is a relative, it is a value judgment. It is something that would be difficult for me to go and present evidence of in court. So it will be tough. Then there's stated misbehavior. That one is the favorite of this administration. That's how they got rid of Charlotte Osei. Stated misbehavior. But let us all remind ourselves, what was Charlotte Osei's misbehavior? She carried out a procurement process which they say was wrong. In this country, if you carry out procurement wrong, is that stated misbehavior? Something that every institution does, and then they will rush to parliament to ratify afterwards. And parliament or cabinet or whomever must ratify is always more than happy to do so. But when Charlotte Osei did it, she was misbehaving, statedly. So that one, it is an all-encompassing definition that if indeed this administration wants to get rid of you, they can use it. They will find something. They will find something. You bought some car and you didn't file the receipt. Stated misbehavior. You said you need one person to do this job. You employed two. Stated misbehavior. Your budget for the year, you were going to spend 1 million on training. You spent 1.5. Stated misbehavior. You see what I'm saying? It is a nice loophole if indeed this administration wants to get rid of him. Then you have D. Now, Martin Amidu's claims, maybe you could watch him attempt to prove that his claims put the special prosecutor in I or II. So I says brings or is likely to bring the office of the special prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt. So anything that Martin Amidu thinks the special prosecutor didn't do well, he could extend the argument to say it brings the office into disrepute, right? Particularly his claim that Kissi Agyabeng is somehow scandalizing the judicial service, right? That claim, Martin Amidu could make an attempt to fit it into this DI. Whether he will succeed or not is to be seen, you know. Then you have II, prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. That's where the procurement issues might come up. If indeed there is some evidence to back some sort of catalogue of procurement malpractice, then they might seek to prove that that is inimical to the economy at the very least. Okay, and so maybe on those grounds they might be able to present a case. Whether the committee would accept that case as enough to get rid of Kissi Agyabeng is yet another matter.
So Kwame, Kojo talks about some of the things that the special prosecutor has done over the years. Especially we looked at this Cecilia Dapaah issue and how he believes that he had everything in his armory to win this particular case but failed to. Would you agree that in relation to the performance of this special prosecutor, it's been kind of a topsy-turvy, kind of thing, especially when you look at when he actually arrested this man who was on the Professor Frimpong Boateng, and the reasons for which, according to him, he got him arrested, and then the whole Cecilia Dapaah case. I want to find out from you, do you think that the expectations of this government, of the special prosecutor, has been met?
Well, to the extent that none of the appointees of the president has been actually prosecuted and jailed, I believe the expectations have been met.
But do you also, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Do you, especially with the Cecilia Dapaah case, do you also think that everything that has come with it, especially from the special prosecutor's side, where he seized the money and got into her bank accounts, her account balance and everything, which later they came to deny and all of that, do you think that it also has got something to do with this situation right now?
In the performance of one's duties, a margin of error is allowed. And so you don't expect Kissi Agyabeng to all of a sudden become Superman, to be prosecuting matters left, right, center, right? In law, they say the rule of the game is evidence. But how is the office able to procure the evidence? They procure the evidence through investigations. How are they able to investigate? They investigate by first arresting the people who are involved, and then subsequently interviewing them, and then getting the evidence that they need in order that they can prosecute the matter very well. So it is not a situation where once someone is arrested on the basis of an allegation, then automatically the person must be prosecuted, and then automatically the person may be found guilty and then subsequently incarcerated. It is not automatic. And so in as much as I agree with Kojo to some extent, I may want to disagree to the extent that the mere mention of corruption, or the mere indication, right, of some evidence available for the purpose of prosecution does not automatically translate to prosecution. You have to actually now prove your case. But in doing so, there are several things that come to play, right? For instance, the police may have to investigate the matter. The police would have to now give their investigation reports to the office, for the office to now use it to do whatever it is that they need to do, right? But in that process, okay, I'm not saying the police is corrupt or otherwise, but in that process, there may be some break in the chain Okay, so that the flow of information that you even need for the purpose of prosecution will not be there. And you know, sometimes you are poised, you are ready, you want to go and prosecute the matter, but the prosecuting officer may not necessarily even have the evidence given to him to be able to use that to go to court. And so these 7 days that you are talking about, maybe within that period they were even struggling to get evidence. They were struggling to get evidence. Maybe someone was not releasing information, someone was not doing it. And you see, when you are dealing with an establishment, and I see, let me mention a quote from a man called Frederick Bastiat. Okay, said, where plunder becomes the way of life of a particular group of people, they create a legal system which legitimizes it. Okay, and a culture which enhances it. I just paraphrase. I couldn't immediately remember the quote, but I know the quote. Right? They create a legal system, yes, which legitimizes it, and a culture and a culture which endorses it. So it is not easy that because we found $1 million in Madame Cecilia Rapap's house, automatically we have evidence, and automatically we have to go and prosecute her and jail her.
Right.
Look at this Dr. Punis matter. How many years?
Yeah.
It's evidence, and there are different processes that you will file in court. You file this, someone will file this in opposition, someone will come back, counter that, file a different application, move to court for appeal, move to Supreme Court, move an application, come back. So before you actually finish the matter, there may have been so many applications or processes that you have dealt with, processes which are not even which is not part of the substantial matter which has to be looked. So sometimes it's just procedure. You understand what I'm saying? So in as much as, yes, I agree with Kojo that he could have done more, I also do not want to necessarily fault him, because sometimes the principalities are many. You don't even know where he is struggling to get information from. And it has been stated unequivocally, especially by the president and his appointees, that Madam Cecilia Dapaah, the president said he is confident. And you see, you are an English boy, man. You know the definition. When somebody says, I am confident, it holds a bigger meaning. It tells you that the president believes that no matter what happens, the woman will be exonerated.
Yeah.
So how can you fight the establishment? Yes, the office was set up. But you see, let's even understand something. Why the office came into being. Martin Amidi, recall, before 2016 elections, was all over the place, criticizing the NDC, chastising the NDC, maligning the NDC, creating the impression that they were corrupt, and that nobody was doing anything about it. His work as a citizen vigilante, he was part of the Opuni matter. He was part of the this matter, this popular the water something. Is it Watergate or something scandal? There was a Watergate scandal or something like that. He was involved. So immediately, I think the perception was that once we give him the office, he will go after our opponents.
Yes.
But then they gave him the office.
I know what you're...
Yeah, that case. They gave him the isophoton matter. Yeah. They gave him the office, and then they realized that he in fact realized that the corruption is not even in the opposition, it's actually now in this office, right? So the purpose for the creation of the office, for me, in itself, from the very outset, right, was edged in witch hunting, and not necessarily to fighting corruption per se in whichever administration. It was just for the purposes of going after the opponents. Bear in mind that this administration had a strategy, and even though they have not made it so axiomatic, but it is very palpable to all of us that when they got into power in 2016, their strategy was to collapse banks which were purportedly which belonged to their opponents, right, thereby incapacitating them financially. 2, to close down media houses which allegedly belong to their to the opposition, thereby denying them of a medium through which they could voice their grievances. Okay, the third thing was also that they were going to create some channel where they could make so much money, and therefore the introduction of PDS.
Yeah.
Okay, the introduction of this communication thing that currently GVG, right, and now SML. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they had a strategy, and that strategy was to ensure that they crippled their opposition in order that they would keep them in opposition. So Martin Amidu was the henchman. He was going to actually do the work for them so that they would prosecute people who were alleged to have corrupted the system, right? That didn't happen. And that is why right now they've actually regretted creating that office. I'm sure now they wished that they had not set up the office to begin with. Yes. Now, what has Kissi Agyabeng done? Kissi Agyabeng is only working with what he possesses. What does he have right now? Right? What is known to him? He will only use the toolkits which he possesses for the purposes of prosecution. If information is not coming, how do you expect him to go and prosecute? And that is why, yes, in fact, there was a fundamental error in the transmission of the matter to Iyoko. That, I think, has been stated unequivocally, right? But even then, let's assume that the office had failed in doing due diligence, in ensuring that they transmitted the matter to Iyoko in a manner that was supposed to be transmitted, right? Iyoko on its own, you see, and I've read their functions as well. They are also an investigative body. Iyoko is equally an investigative body. So Iyoko could have also picked the matter up, okay, to have said that, okay, let's pick the matter up, investigate the matter, and then ensure that justice is brought to the people of Ghana.
So investigate what? Money laundering?
No, I mean, look, the not necessarily money laundering, because Iyoko's mandate goes beyond just money laundering. Any action which, in the estimation of the law, is organized,
Organized crime.
Yes, organized crime, falls within their remit, and they could have, if they wanted to, they could have even abandoned Kissi Agyabeng to say that, okay, we can investigate this matter.
So I'm sorry, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm imagining that I'm the Iyoko boss.
What are you going to be investigating?
And the special prosecutor has sent me a docket. First of all, it's a partial docket. Some part of his investigation he hasn't given me. But the part he has given me is the interrogation he has done of a suspect who he has eventually cleared of corruption. But he says, you, Kojo Yankson at Iyoko, now investigate
On money laundering.
this person on money laundering. In fact, he said money laundering, and he mentioned another charge which doesn't even exist in our law books. But the special prosecutor expected Iyoko to investigate her for that. You put that aside. He said money laundering. But me, I'm at Iyoko. I know that my mandate extends beyond money laundering, right? So you bring it to me, I look at it and I say, okay, money laundering there has to be a predicate offense. There's no predicate offense. The information you've given me to, the interviews you've done, there's nothing here that shows money laundering. Rather, you claim that your FBI investigation is what made you decide that it could be money laundering, but you haven't given me the report of your FBI information. So I can't do money laundering. What else can I do? Organized crime. Okay. So I look through this docket to see if there is anything in there that could be grounds for me to investigate organized crime. The woman says she got the money from funeral. Then at some other point she says she got it from what? She owns a boutique or something.
I think 2 days ago.
Which of these things would be my starting point to investigate organized crime?
No, that's what I said. That one I agree with you. But I'm only saying that parastatals and agencies must begin to work together. If indeed we want to bring some sanity into the system.
Right. You're still watching The Couch. Tonight's edition is a very special one. We are looking at the petition to remove the special prosecutor, Kissi Agyabeng. Let's go for a short breather. We return with so much more.
Are you searching for the perfect venue to host your next event? Look no further than Meres Event Plus. Discover the epitome of sophistication with our Skybox Event Center. This indoor marvel offers spacious hall area accommodating up to 500 esteemed guests. This beautifully designed space can be tailored to suit various event types, from weddings and corporate gatherings to cultural celebrations and more. We give you a kitchen space where your culinary creativity takes center stage, from gourmet feast to delectable treats. Our kitchen is the heart of flavor and delight. Our luxurious washrooms ensure comfort and convenience for all attendees, as well as maintaining the elegance of a special day. Our breathtaking waiting area is designed to make a lasting impression, while our top-of-the-range changing rooms are befitting of the VIPs of your event. Experience nature's charm at Tichiwe's grounds. Host an unforgettable outdoor event at the spacious and beautiful Tichiwa grounds, featuring a large lawn or terrace area capable of accommodating up to 700 cherished guests. Our changing rooms also provide privacy and ease for your special guests. Call us now on 030-341-6266.
Still a special Friday edition of The Couch. I still have Kwame Osudanso and Kojo Yankson here with me in the studios of Pan African TV. We are talking about the petition to remove the special prosecutor, Kisi Ejabeng. Now, the letter has been forwarded. The Chief Justice has it. She's written back to the special prosecutor to respond. We understand that a board is going to be constituted to look into the matter. I want to find out from Kojo what he expects the outcome of that meeting between those people would be.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So this committee, I think, is going to reveal something very interesting. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm happy Kwame is here. You know, he can correct me if I go wrong anywhere. But you know, we read from 15, right? 15:1. Let me read 15:4 very quickly. It's short. It says, where the Chief Justice determines that there is a prima facie case, the Chief Justice shall within 14 days set up a committee consisting of a chairperson who is a justice of the Supreme Court, b a lawyer of at least 15 years standing at the bar, and c one other person with expertise in investigations. And these three people will then come and deliberate on these issues that Martin Amidu has raised about the office, or about the special prosecutor. I foresee a very interesting difficulty. You see, one of the things that Martin Amidu is accusing the special prosecutor of is that he has brought the judicial service into disrepute. He cites that press conference, the Ankwanoma press conference, as his example of this. This is interesting because, you see, you guys have something called the rules of natural justice. And one of the principles of this rule of natural justice is that a person cannot sit in judgment of a case in which he's an interested party. So how is the judicial service, as a judge, a justice of the Supreme Court, who is of course a member of the judicial service, how is he going to be part of a committee that's going to determine whether the accused person has brought the judicial services into disrepute? Does that not go against the laws of natural justice?
Yes.
Then you also have the mysterious third person who has to have, the only criterion this person must have is that he must have experience of investigation, expertise of investigation. Who has expertise of investigation in this country? well, yes. But beyond that, I mean, in this country, which institution? The police does investigation. Am I right?
That's true.
Yes. So, almost undoubtedly, they will be picking someone either in the police service or retired from the police service. Am I mistaken? Isn't Kissi Agyabeng investigating the police? So do we not suddenly have yet another interesting situation? It's not just that, but in so many different ways, this thing is going to create a very funny circular situation which Kissi Agyabeng might take advantage of to have pretty much any work that this committee does dismissed. So I hope they are able to cure some of these things before they proceed. Otherwise, work done zero.
Yeah, Kwame.
Okay.
Your expectation.
So, the first point of call is to establish what we call a prima facie case. So, if you want to break down the definition of prima facie, it's more like upon an initial examination. Okay. A legal claim has evidence for which reason something must happen. So, I want to, and based on my own understanding and my own interpretation of events, and based on how Mr. Kissi Agyabeng has been consistently without fail been bashed by Mr. Martin Amidu, at one point being described as inexperienced,
too young,
corrupt, no, so the inexperienced, corrupt and desperate. Inexperienced, corrupt and desperate. This is how he was characterized by Mr. Martin Amidu, right? So for me, the petition that was sent to the president, which has subsequently been forwarded to the Chief Justice, who in response has acted, on by sending the writing to Mr. Kissi Agyabeng, is flawed. Ab initio, in my estimation, is prejudicial. Ab initio, in my estimation, is the legal is frivolous. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it is born out of some hatred. It is born out of some hatred. It's not born out of the clear in a truer sense, a clear misconduct, okay, which has been exhibited by Mr. Kissi Agyabeng. To be honest, despite all the things that Kojo has put forward in relation to Cecilia Dapa's matter, right, it is still not conclusive that he is incompetent as prescribed by the law. And for me, Kojo says that the 15.1, is it 15.2, let me just...
What I just read?
Yeah, what you read?
15.4.
No, 15.2. 15.2.
Oh, right.
Sorry, 15.1D. Kojo says some of them may suffice, right? But even then, I think they are a little ambiguous.
I agree.
You see, and ambiguity calls for several interpretations, and so I don't know how it will pan out. I want to believe that in the final analysis, justice must not only be done, or will not only be done, but will be seen to be done. Because you see, justice, they say, is rooted in confidence. And Kojo explains to you that the judiciary itself has been under attack, orchestrated by Mr. Kissi Agyabeng. The police themselves have been investigated by Kissi Agyabeng. On the basis of that, how will the empaneling be done? Who will do the empaneling? Because by law, it is the Chief Justice that is supposed to do the empaneling. The Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary. The judiciary has been attacked. The rule of law, speaks about predictability and certainty. Certainty in the law, and the law must be predictable. So on the basis of that, if we are predicting that the Chief Justice will do the empaneling, then there will be some doubts as to whether or not that will be done in a manner that will favor a fair trial. Do you understand? Because the right to be heard is not enough, but the right to be able to present your case to a fair tribunal is the bedrock of any judicial system. And I just do hope and pray that I have no cause whatsoever to want to dwell or delve into matters where there are so many uncertainties. But in the final analysis, justice must prevail. So yes, the process has started. Let's see how it ends.
Do you see, and you mentioned earlier that you feel that this government wished it never established this office in the first place. In the worst case scenario, if say for instance Kissi Agyabeng is removed from office, do you think that another person would be appointed to replace him?
I don't know how the president will justify not appointing a replacement, considering just how much too known he has done with the fact that he set up the office. How much he has listed it as his most unimpeachable credential in the fight against corruption. I mean, every opportunity he gets, he talks about the fact that he's the one who set up, the special prosecutors. So I don't know how he would justify it if Kissi Agyabeng gets removed and then he's suddenly for some reason is not appointing a replacement. I don't know how he would justify it. But the office has been set up. The concept of these things is that if there is good governance at play, the office should still be able to continue its operations while a new special prosecutor is being pursued. So these cases that they have on their docket should continue. So I don't think there is much to be achieved by President Akufo-Addo by not replacing Kissi Agyabeng if this process results in his removal.
Interesting. But Kwame, let me also find out from you the question about, and I asked the question about the performance of the special prosecutor or the office of the special prosecutor. Let me put it that way. I don't want to limit it to Kissi Agyabeng. If at all it has brought anything to fore in terms of this government's, alleged activities in relation to corruption, what do you think that will be?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I'm saying that the creation of this office was supposedly, to fight corruption.
Certainly.
But you and I agree that has not entirely been the case, especially in terms of the two persons who have had the opportunity to occupy this office. I want to find out from you, do you think that the setting up of this office has brought anything to light about governance?
Yeah.
Especially in relation to this administration.
It's a very tricky question. But you see, what you want me to do is to find out even if the work of the office has been hampered by reason of some political interference. Yeah. That's the question you're asking. You see, again, I told you from the outset that the bedrock or the foundational pillars upon which the OSP was set up was to go after opponents, whether you like it or not. That was the reason. Of course, they won't come and tell you that, but that was the reason.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? If Martin Amidu had gone for NPP's political opponent and had jailed them, I'm sure that office would have been praised by this administration. But unfortunately, it is like when you bring a maggot infested firewood into your home and then lizards are coming into your home, then you're asking why. You've brought it into the house, so whatever follows, you don't have to complain. So the office is now turning its guns towards this administration, and that is why we are not seeing the office fully operational and functional. Because believe you me, and look, this is not by mere coincidence or fluke, okay? It is what it is, that the government or the state in fact the state, let me say the state, is the reason why this office is not functioning. It's an established truth, and it is an established truth not only from the corridors of Kisiejabe, but also from the premises of Mr. Martin Amidu, who on countless occasions indicated to us that he is unable to perform his functions because of XYZ. First of all, it was the unavailability of office space or things like that. That was unable to.
Resources.
So there were resources.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult for them to work. It has always been difficult for them to work. And you see the Ankwar do big press conference. Rehashes the position of Martin Amidu when he was in that office. If we truly want that office to function, the first thing we should do is to decouple their powers from that of the Attorney General. That's what we should do. That we should make it a truly independent institution. If we make it truly independent, then the person would not pander to the whims and caprices of the appointees. Then they will act in a manner that finds expression in the Constitution. But as it stands now, it is the Attorney General that has given small of its powers to the Special Prosecutor. So, look, in a case where a matter has started by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and then the Attorney General says that I am disinterested, the office cannot continue. In fact, the Attorney General said that we found Nolly Prosecutor, we are not interested in the matter, or withdrawal, we are not interested in the matter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if we truly want the office functional and operational, we must decouple their powers from that of the Attorney General. We must ensure that we eschew political influences in the practices or in the operations of the office. And we must ensure that we appoint somebody who has the wherewithal. If I say the wherewithal, not just by reason of the understanding of the law per se, but somebody who also has the courage to withstand the fortitude of political pressures. And somebody who is willing to defend and uphold the principles of law, and somebody who has the state, the interest of the people at heart, and somebody who doesn't, in other jurisdictions, special prosecutors have even been killed.
Yeah.
It's not a small portfolio, it's a serious portfolio. And that is why Mr. Kisiejabe, because his life was also addressed. That's why he drives in an armored vehicle and things like that. 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. 3 times. This one I heard it from a very reliable source. Do you understand? So it is not a small office. People will come after you. You are exposing government officials, you are exposing private individuals, you are exposing businessmen and things like that who have dealings with it. They will come after you. So we need somebody who has the courage and the strength to be able to weather the storm. Otherwise, I don't see the need for the creation of the office, to be honest.
Could you have then been any positives from the creation of this office?
Yeah, I think it has been the clearest illustration of the fact that corruption fights back.
Maybe that's the answer I was looking for.
All the travails of both special prosecutors, all of their wahala demonstrates that it makes no difference that this administration set up the office. There are people in power who do not want a special prosecutor's office to succeed. I mean, it's quite clear. So that for me is the biggest revelation, since this office was created. And you can map it through all of their activities from the beginning, when they didn't have resources, and that was a battle. Eventually they won that one. Then they were given premises, and then another person, and then the pressure of the mother serpent was too much for the first guy, so he left. Then the second guy came along. He actually managed to set up some structures and all of that. Then he started taking things to court, and then that also turned into a headache for him. And things were not going as smoothly as he wanted. I mean, I am still of the view that there is so much more he could have done. I am still shocked at some of the cases that got thrown out. But it's a matter of opinion. It's not something that can be proved. It's just my sense. So again, his frustration is quite evident, and all of this frustration is not caused by us. It's not caused by the public. It's caused by the system.
Absolute system.
So that for me is the biggest revelation from our time with an office of the special prosecutor in Ghana, that corruption doesn't give up easily.
Come and find out where.
That's not all force we open yourself.
Right.
And the biggest revelation is that you may start a fight against government institutions, against individuals and things like that, but then the system will come and finish it for you. So yeah, but I think that Mr. Kissejabi should not give up. These are trying times for him, and how he's able to swim ashore will indicate to us whether or not he has the courage that I was referring to, and he needs to be bold. I think that I'm happy that the media is now exposed to this, so clearly we are going to be covering this. We are going to bring it into light so everybody can understand what is going on. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Our time is up. We need to go. Thank you so much, Kwame Busudan. So, thank you, Kojo, and to our cherished viewers across the continent who have been doing the watching. We are extremely grateful for your time. It's been a pleasure sitting in for Amaprat on a special edition of The Couch on this Friday. I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.